let's make sure before I start blathering that audio's good, video's good, all the things are good, the live is good to go. Excellent, everything's working, dog's coming in clear, audio's good. Last time when we started, Cindy was playing the audio on her laptop, so I heard myself talking and then 17 seconds later heard the same shit over again. It was awesome. Anyway, I'm just killing time as people join. This is the last episode in our series of, can I help you?
Chris, are you live?
I'm live.
It's Chris. Cindy wants to know if you're live. You want to go confer with her? Shoot over there and check on Cindy.
There's 35 people that we
Yeah.
confer.
Cindy, you're really on top of stuff today. This is great. The great part is after I say this, she doesn't get it for like 15.
The customer experience.
Oh,
right
she's
now.
simulating the user. Excellent. Should we dig into it? Enough people joined? Any questions to start off? Anything we want to cover from past episodes? Just to recap, so the first week we talked about majestic mode. The next week we talked about Movi tips and tricks. Then we talked about Movi lapse and time lapse. Then we did orbit barrel roll. And then last week we did a Movi Q&A. All of these can be found on our YouTube if you want to rewatch any of them. If you have any questions, just send them our way and we'll be happy to answer them in future episodes. The episodes have varying degrees of video and auditory quality, so you'll get to enjoy that. We've worked out some of the technical kinks in our programming as this series has evolved, so I think we're just at the point when the series is almost over. We're at a point where everything's working pretty well, so that's excellent. Standard style. Any questions, both of you guys?
Well, Penny Wisdom wants to say, I hope in the future you will do this kind of live on YouTube again. So.
Okay, we will, for sure.
A lot of people waving.
Hi. This is my emotional support co-presenter. Ever since Cindy started, I really needed this guy. He keeps me sane. Okay, let's talk let's talk echo mode first. So the idea behind echo mode was we wanted to give users the ability to create shots similar to what Hugh and I would create back in the day with like with one person moving a Movi and one person controlling the Movi. Hey, Nick, that's pretty loud. Thanks. So the idea is bundling what two people can do into one thing. And so to give you an example, a really cool shot that Hugh and I would do back when we first introduced the world to the handheld gimbal is you would start on somebody's feet and you would walk with them, and then you do this Hugh would execute this beautiful tilt up to reveal their face. And so that's a really tough move to do perfectly in majestic mode, but I just put that in echo, and when I hit go, I'm not doing anything and it's doing the move for me. So the great thing is I can just focus on moving through space and keeping the framing, keeping the elevation, keeping the type of motion I want, but I know that Movi is going to control the tilt perfectly for me. So that's kind of the spirit or the philosophy behind this echo mode that we've developed. So let me reset that guy. I think at this point, I'll kind of dig through the menu with everybody so everyone understands how each thing works. So you'll find echo in here. It's the first one. I think it's one of the more useful methods in the Movi. And then the options we have, there's a little menu here. Actually, let me try and get a little bit different background so it's easier to see. Hugh, can you put me in touch with the guy who did the app design on this? It's a little tough to see in the background. So we have different paths here. So the AB is a totally custom path that you define. And then we have a pre-programmed left path, a pre-programmed right path, a pre-programmed up path, and a pre-programmed down path. And the idea is these are just a variety of shots that we commonly use. We wanted to have them at the ready anytime you need to execute one of these simple shots. And then when you're in this mode, when you're in the AB mode, you can set your target clip length. So this is how long the move will take to do. So I'm going to take this back down to 10 or 11. And then we have tilt and roll lock. Those you can adjust depending on your particular shot needs. So I thought I would show first just how to execute a stationary custom echo move. So when it's sitting here, let's say I want to start on the head of the dog. So I just click the trigger and set A, and then let's say I want the move to stop looking at the artwork on the wall here at FreeFly. I just set B, so then it transitions to ready. I've got my duration set to 11 seconds, and then what I need to do, I'll hit record, and then I'll hit trigger. It'll give a countdown, 3, 2, 1, action, and it's starting to do the move. And you can see it eases in and out of the move and then keeps the rates during the move perfectly constant. You can also see as the move is going, there's a little progress bar that shows you where you're at in your move. And that can be really helpful for when you're doing a moving shot. You know, like let's say we're gonna do a left to right shot and then I need to follow the person, you know where you're at in reference to the shot ending. So let's reset. Oop, I'm still recording. There are some options in the Movi menu that I think are important to talk about. So the end behavior for Echo, you have the option to have it hold the B point or return to majestic mode. And both of those techniques are useful for different things. There's definitely some where I want to transition back to majestic and then continue the shot. So for those, I'll click return. On other ones, I want it to stay exactly in the B frame. Maybe I'm going to do a live shot and then have it transition to a time lapse at that stage. So I want it to hold that shot. And then motion smoothing, we send it with a default of 30. That works pretty well for most shots, but you can play with it. It puts kind of like a Bezier curve on the start and stop of the shot. So I thought we should demo one more time a moving A/B. This is typically how I'll use A/B. Like let's say I want to start on hue, and then I want to end on someone's feet there. I want the shot to take 11 seconds. And so Movi's going to do the move on its own, and I'm going to record. And Hugh, will you walk that way with me? And then kind of transition to in front of me so it ends on your feet?
Yep.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, go. Well, it's too fast. So you saw it executed the move there over 11 seconds while I was moving. Let's showcase one other one. So I'm gonna reset. I'm gonna start on your feet, and then I'm gonna end on your head, 11 seconds. So let me know when you're ready. 3, 2, 1. Walk with me this way. Okay, great. So I'll play back that shot. So shots like this, pretty tough to execute in majestic mode. I mean, they're not really that tough, but this really gives you a different degree of precision. So Movi's completely handling the tilt as I walk backwards, which is nice because walking backwards is difficult. And it does this nice little tilt up to reveal Hugh's face. So this is kind of the idea behind Echo mode. It's basically like a very lightweight motion control mode. And I think in the future we'll consider adding more points, so you could do multi-point Echo modes, like maybe up to 10 different points. So we could have a long scripted sequence in the warehouse where, you know, it starts on Chris, then goes to Cindy, then goes to Brian, then we go over to Assad, and all these different points that we could pre-program and then execute, and then replay it over and over and over to get the shot perfect. Questions, let's go.
Do you guys recommend using a Joby Gorilla Pod with the Movi?
Don't ever use this thing. No, it's great. You should definitely use it. We use them all the time. I use it a lot with time-lapse mode because you can just wrap this thing around anything, mount the Movi to it, get a nice little time lapse. If you have like a guardrail or handrail mounted to it, they work great. And then also just for filming with it, you can mount it to the Movi and then film really low with it, which is nice. You can kind of use it as a small little jib. They're really great, and they're basically free at this point, so I definitely recommend them. They work awesome. What else?
Has your team considered making an attachment to extend battery life?
To extend battery life. Typically, we're not having a problem with the battery life of the actual Movi, more so the phone. So we have considered building an accessory that allows you to mount like a USB power pack, but in the end, we found with testing it, it was kind of, the whole system became a little bit ungainly to use because one of the things I really like about the Movi is just the ability to plop it down, and I wouldn't want to compromise that for battery. I think you should be getting, between 4 and 10 hours of runtime if your packs are fully charged. So I'd love to hear if you're not getting that.
If I ordered one, do you have them in stock?
In stock, ready to go, right over there. Absolutely.
Can you change pan and tilt during an echo mode?
Change how so?
Like, can you adjust the pan and tilt?
No. It's so at the end of the echo mode, if you have it set to return to majestic, then you regain control of the robot again after that. But when it's during the echo mode shot, it's completely pre-programmed, and that's kind of the beauty of it is it's going to execute that shot perfectly regardless of what you're doing in space.
Some people use small magnets to lock the iPhone X optical stabilization. Is it safe to do that?
I don't think so. I don't have any conclusive proof to say so, but with an understanding of how that system works, at the very least you would forego the ability to activate the focus, and at the worst I think you could damage the optical system on the iPhone. It's basically, to explain it really quickly, the lens sits on little springs, essentially, or little flexures that come in, and then if this is the lens, it can actually flex in and out for focus, and then it can actually translate for optical image stabilization. So if you stuck a magnet on the back, it's going to pull that element back like this. You're going to lose your ability to focus, and potentially if it stressed any of those components, it could damage it. So I wouldn't recommend it. Charles did it the other day, and I expressed that I was unimpressed with his choice to do so. So, any other questions?
Sometimes my Movi vibrates. What do you think causes it?
It's probably just purring like a happy cat, would be my guess. No, it's certainly that it's overtuned. So this is a small phone, and if I go into tuning and I put it on the plus tuning, you can hear as I move it, I'm getting a little oscillation and vibration. And basically, these different tuning parameters are set for different phones. So if you are getting buzzing, I would, first step, make sure you're well balanced. If you check that off, turn the Movi back on, start with the low setting, see if everything's solid and stable. Then go to the regular, depending on the size phone you have, but these are all custom tunings for different size phones. And in one of these settings, the Movi will be stable in all different orientations and poses. And if that isn't the case, then contact customer support because there could be something wrong with your unit, but it definitely should not be buzzing.
He says, thanks, Beagle.
Anything else, you?
Any chance you guys can do a moment lens in a larger iPhone, like a whole episode of it? Oh, just to be realistic on expectations.
So a moment lens, larger iPhone, and filters and all the stuff. Probably we want like a LED light on the top of the phone, then a shotgun mic on top of that, and what else do we need on there? A rangefinder, 3-axis fizz. How big do you want to build this thing? We can do it. I look forward to it. Could you at least send me something nice though? I like dark chocolate, coffee, that kind of stuff. That'd be great. Did I get agreement? Is that a deal?
No
What's that?
agreement yet. Is there a cell phone that you recommend for optimal Movi performance?
That's an interesting question. So I like the way that the iPhone looks a lot as far as image quality, but the phone that really is an outlier as far as technical image performance is the Pixel 1, because it does not have any optical image stabilization in there. So when we tested it, the footage looks stunning. It looks much like the footage we get from our larger professional Movies. Because there's no jitter, there's no shake. You can jump off of a building, and you don't get any optical image stabilization degradation. So I would say there's kind of two issues there. There's the problematic part of the iPhones is the optical image stabilization. So the Pixel, if you really want maximum stability, the Pixel 1 is great. The Pixel 2, they reintroduced optical image stabilization, which I'm not a huge fan of. And I'm super hoping that when Apple releases upcoming iPhones that they make the very prudent and awesome decision to drop the optical image stabilization in favor of completely digital, which will really help the performance of mobile filmmakers everywhere. So I'm guessing they're catching on that photography is becoming a less important part of the package for what, for the iPhone, and video is becoming more and more important. It's hard not to miss with the distribution of time that people are spending on social media these days, but let's hope. Let's hope for no OIS.
Tony said he'll definitely send some dark chocolate.
Oh, he will? Yes. Well, I definitely will balance, I'll balance a huge iPhone with a dog mounted at the end of it and a filter and whatever you want. Huh?
Frankenstein movie.
Frankenstein movie?
Yeah.
Perfect. Let's just build it huge. Let's build it so big that we need a ready rig to help support it when we're ready to go.
Can you mount a small Rode mic to the Movi, the 1/4-20 screw at the bottom?
You could, but we also make an accessory right here called the Hoodie that allows you to mount it to the top if you want it there. It's a little bit more convenient of a position. Do we have mic over here handy? No? So travel with me on a journey of imagination, and let's say that this was a Rode mic. So imagine that that guy's mounted right there, screws right in. You need a little 3/8 to 1/4-20 adapter. Away you go. Got this comfortable package. It all balances. You get a little lightweight cable, run it right in through the counterweight slot. You're off. You're cooking.
Nice mic.
What?
Nice mic.
Nice mic? Thank you. This guy's a little bit heavy, but I really like the sound quality that he delivers. What other questions we got?
We're good. No?
I have a few.
You do?
Yeah.
Lay it on. Let's
Someone
go.
wants to know if Reframe is available as an update.
Reframe. It's available in the beta.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are we ever going to support GoPro?
I've been supporting GoPro for a long time.
Movi support GoPro?
Yeah, I think if you wanted to shoot with a GoPro right now and you didn't want to wait for us to come up with a solution, you could take your phone and glue or hot glue the GoPro right there and then stick in the clamp and get it roughly balanced. It'd work. But yeah, we should do that in the future. I've actually got the new Sony, I don't know how you pronounce it, but RX0 or RXO that I purchased and want to play with in the near future. So I'll come up with some kind of mounting solution for that and be sure to share it with everybody. What else?
A couple questions about follow mode or object tracking.
Yep. We don't have it. That's an easy one. We don't have it yet. We'll have it in the future. But we've got some integration that we've been testing with ARKit that allows you to place trackers that will control the pointing on the Movi. It works really well, and it's slated for a future release. I don't know exactly when. Just keep in mind we got a tiny software team, and they're going so fast, their hair's on fire.
Can it
Red
support?
hydrogen also. They want to know about the red hydrogen.
I have a red hydrogen on order, so if you know anybody at Red that can get that thing to me, let me know, and then we'll test it and we'll shoot with it, and I'll tell you how wonderful or not wonderful it is. I would love to.
Here's an interesting.
The scallop things on the edge, I don't know about that though, like the scallop design. I'm picturing putting that in my pocket and getting annoyed, and then in the Movi clamp, I don't know, we'll see. What's that, Cindy?
Which moment lens do you favor when using the Movi?
Oh, no question. Moment wide. It's the best lens they've ever built. Although I have the anamorphic now on loan, so that one's pretty fun too. But anamorphic is a bit problematic if you want to switch into social apps, if you want to shoot some stories and that kind of stuff, because then you're stuck with an anamorphic lens, which is not de-squeezed, which, is not so pro. You have any questions, Chris? I see you scrolling.
Nope, I think Cindy got most of them.
You got more?
I do.
Man, she's on top of it.
Does body movement while panning cause the jitter to increase? A couple of people are saying that they're seeing jitters when panning,
Yeah.
so they're wondering if there's something that has to do with
So 2014.
also them moving while they're panning,
Well-
or maybe just letting it do an AB.
I think we can break jitter down into a bunch of different things. So depending on what you're seeing, if you're actually seeing artifacts in the footage, like jolts and shakes, then I would make sure that your Movi is not over-tuned as a first step, and then I would make sure that you're not actually disturbing the optical image stabilization. And to give you an idea of what that looks like, so if you see, when I tap the side of the iPhone, you see a big disturbance and all kinds of artifacting there. And that's an artifact of the optical image stabilization. So if you see anything that looks like that, then it's likely that that is due to the optical image stabilization. But then there's also jitter, or people might say is jitter, depending on the shutter speed and the frame rate that you're shooting. And if, certainly with 24p, You can, if you execute a pan that's a little bit too fast, you can get a very unpleasing effect, and it's even more magnified if you shoot a high frame rate. So that's definitely something that we'll be thinking about as we develop Movi Studio in the future. We'll want to give the options for shutter speed, frame rate, that kind of thing, so that you can get great pans.
Especially outside when it's really bright.
Yeah, especially outside. So, oh, and the other thing you can do is, if you're working outside of the Movi app for now, you can set your shutter speed to 180-degree shutter, which is means set your shutter speed to 2 times the frame rate that the base frame rate that you're using, and that'll help smooth the pans out. In order to do that, you'll probably have to use an ND filter to get things down in the range that's reasonable, though. And you'll have to wait for the upcoming episode where I balance the ND filter and the kitchen sink on the Movi. Anything else, Cindy?
Nope, I think we're good.
All right, let's move on to Smartpod then. Collect a few more questions. If anyone has questions about anything we've discussed or anything regarding Movi, anything regarding Hugh Bell's personal life, past, any of the mistakes he's made in the last decade, we could talk top 5 screw-ups Chris had at Free Fly, whatever you guys want. Lay it on me. Let's talk Smartpod. So Smartpod is not much to say. You go click into Smartpod, and then you just have the ability to manually set the pan and tilt of the Movi, and it will hold that position. And I tend to use this to do silly things such as checking your form when you're doing squats or deadlifts. Or the other thing I do quite a bit now is for family photos, you can stash this thing in an interesting place, and then you can connect to the camera app with your phone and remotely fire it, which is pretty fun. It saves you being in this circumstance where, like, the great aunt with an Android phone is trying to capture the thing, and it's like, 1 megapixel, terrible low light sensitivity, and then she's got to send it out to everybody afterwards. So it's kept, it keeps families together is what I would say about that feature. Smartpod. I don't think there's anything else to say about Smartpod. You just move it around manually and set it where you want it, and it just stays there. Oh, actually, that's another thing that we do with it. People that are working remotely call in, and we can set it up so they can see the whole team easily, which is really handy. Kind of a silly thing, but handy. Okay, last call for questions.
Any questions?
Last call for any questions.
Can you use a tripod when you are in portrait mode?
Can you use a tripod while in portrait mode? Sure, you can use it just like this. Hold on, let me get back into Majestic. Okay. Yeah, you'll just want to go just like this. I don't know what's going on. Let me turn roll on.
Balance.
There you go. Tripod, portrait mode. You're good to go. Is that helpful?
So you could tip that down.
Yeah, this gives me a really good level of control. I love it. Anything else, Cindy? Chris, Hugh, last questions?
Can you use barrel roll in conjunction with a slider to stay accurate as you move forward?
I don't think so, because you need to actually move the Movi around as you go. Like the base needs to follow the frame. But I was talking to Shane recently, and he created a mode, or like a subset of a mode for barrel roll that will keep you perfectly pointed straight ahead and level while you're doing a barrel roll. Because that's kind of the tough part right now, is to keep perfect frame forwards. So I think in the future there'll be a solution to that. What's going on, Hugh? Someone asked an offensive question? Hugh's got a real sourpuss look on his face.
I don't understand the question.
Oh.
What are the chances of a real-world shoot where you try and use this live and then follow up with showing the shoot later when you edit?
That'd be great. That sounds super fun. Do you have an idea? What would you like us to create? Should we do a day in the life of Chris Swoboda? What would the theme song be, Cindy?
Something
What?
with a trumpet.
A day in the life with Chris Swoboda.
Isn't there like a song like when the A-Team like jumps out of the van?
I was kind of thinking more like experimental jazz, trumpet too, Chris, to be honest. So I think you and I are, you and I are on this. Yeah. When you think Chris, you think A-Team. You think a van with a nice forward lean is going to come screeching in, and then he hops out.
Yeah, he's on my team, right?
Oh, okay, good. Perfect. You?
That was a question about the moment power pack but fit in the Movi, but we don't know yet.
The power pack?
Yeah.
I don't even know what that is. It's like a battery?
I think it's a battery pack that's on the back of the case.
I'll balance it when I balance the rest of that guy's stuff. It'll just be duct taped onto the phone.
Alright.
I'm gonna balance like a 6-foot long 2x4 in the thing next week. It'll be great.
Can you use a Bluetooth controller?
I think you could use a Bluetooth controller. We don't have one. We don't have that functionality built in, but I don't see any reason why in the future, when we release the API, people wouldn't be able to do something just like that. So you could have whatever you want: pan, tilt, roll, remote, however you want to do it, remote start, stop, that kind of thing. Be fun.
There's a question about including in the future black bars frame simulation grid, like the Filmic Pro app.
Yeah, that'd be great. I think it's probably on the development plan for Movi Studio. So I don't remember the exact date that Movi Studio launches, but they're working hard on it, and it looks awesome so far. It's got, so far, the first round will have edit functionality, the ability to rotate clips, a bunch of really cool stuff. Anything else? Nothing?
Just more questions about balancing an iPhone 7 Plus with moment wide-angle lens, but
We actually have a video that shows that. So check out that video first, and if you find that video inadequate or insufficient, then you can tune into our upcoming live where I'll balance a crocodile in the Movi.
Harry wants a film festival
He wants a film festival?
with Movi.
Oh, okay, that'd be great. Marketing should definitely do that.
We'll be there. Let's go. Where are we going?
Film festival.
Great. Which one? All of them?
Ours.
our own.
Our own.
Our
She just
own
signed up for a
film
film festival without even knowing.
Sure.
Classic Cindy.
Sure. Hey, I'm.
Lots of likes.
That'd be great.
All right.
Last call. Anything you want to ask me? Lay it on me.
I have just something to add for the Echo, just to talk through.
Oh, yeah. Good point. So we get this question a lot. I should have mentioned it earlier. It's completely okay in Echo mode to grab it. If you want to do a stationary shot and you want it set right here, you know exactly where you want it, and you want to go from here to here. Oh, I'm messed up. Hold on. Let me reset. Okay, so let's say we want it to go from the dog, and I want it to be right there. Click it, and I want it to go over to there. Click it. The important point of this is it's completely okay while the Movi's sitting here to manhandle it and move the pan and tilt as you want to. You won't damage the motors. The motors are very, very simple. All they have is, essentially a bearing and a shaft. They have temperature sensors in there so they won't overheat in case, even if you do move them around aggressively. There's nothing that'll wear out over time. There's just a shaft and a bearing rotating there, and then the magic of physics doing its thing. So feel free to move this thing around. You don't have to worry about it. It does resist you very slightly. You can consider it a friendly disagreement with the Movi. No big deal. So feel free to do that.
Cool question here.
Yeah.
Can you work with D-Brand to get some cool skins for Movi?
What's D-Brand?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'd love to. If I could get like an urban camo wrap for my Movi, I would be all about it. That'd be great. Lauren would not be pleased, but I'd be living the dream.
What about Zoom?
Zoom.
Zoom.
Zoom. I think it's on the feature roadmap. The problem with, Zoom's cool, but the problem with Zoom on a phone that has optical image stabilization is that, well, I shouldn't say that. The iPhone 8 Plus, when you use the zoom lens, it's not optically image stabilized, but on the iPhone 10 it is. So that can be problematic as you try and zoom in even more. The stabilization requirements get even more stringent. So if you have optical image stabilization artifacts and zoom, it can be tough. So, but I agree, we should add zoom, and we will add zoom at a future date.
I like this question.
Oh, great. She's way too happy. This is going to be brutal.
What's the best upcoming feature that you can disclose?
The best upcoming feature.
Stumper.
I mean, this is a generic answer, but we've got to we've spent a lot of time editing short films in the past, and we've been really annoyed with some of the solutions out there, how slow and clunky and unstable and all the things so I think Movi Studio, when it's ready, is going to be really great because it's going to be just the features that you need to create awesome short films quickly. But as far as actual just one feature that I think people are really going to love, when we merge in the ARKit integration with this, I think people are going to go nuts over that because it just gives you the ability to do shots like that have the same type of idea behind them as Echo and those kind of things, but with even more accuracy. So, I mean, at that point when the ARKit is merged in, it really truly does replace a two-man crew in what you can do once you learn how to use it, just with the ability to set tracking points and move through spaces and not lose frame. It's really cool. That's what I'm most excited about. And that skin, like urban camo skin that we're going to release soon for Movi, I'm pretty stoked about that as well. Any last questions?
Not for me.
All right. What's this guy's name?
Chulo.
Daco?
Dogo.
Dogecoin?
Dogecoin? Yeah, me and Dogecoin are signing off now. Thanks for joining. Check out the past weeks. They sound and look awesome.